So we're starting this session laying on our backs with our legs bent in a narrow parallel. And just give yourselves a moment to acknowledge and notice where you are. Just get a sense of your points of contact with the floor. Always starting with the back of the head, moving down to the shoulder blades and the bottom rib. Pelvis would be next, and then the soles of the feet. We're going to move straight into pelvic clock. So from here I want you to begin to rock the pelvis forwards and backwards. Bringing the pelvis to 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock. You could add some breath if you wanted to, or you could keep it quite non-technical, just the idea of loosening up through the lower back. As the pelvis rocks towards your rib cage, you're at 6, and as the pelvis rocks away, you're at 12. Just begin to notice how you're faring in travelling straight through the centre of your pelvis. So you may or may not feel the sacrum, but just notice whether you feel like there's a little bit more weight on the left side of the navel down there, or whether there's a little bit more weight to the right of the navel. And you do get an indication of, is this different to how you would normally be moving? Can you feel that with each 12 and 6 that you do, you manage to appear a little bit more straight down the centre, straight over the midline, and maintain more of a linear rock forwards and back. After you've done this last rock away to 12, I'd like you to settle the pelvis and feel that, again, you've found a middle spot. And then start to tilt the pelvis side to side. So you're going to rock the pelvis now between 3 and 9. There isn't any requirement to pause in the middle, but you could be thinking about where is the middle as you move the pelvis in this way. So 3 o'clock would be dropping down into the right hip and lifting the front left hip bone, and 9 o'clock would be dropping down into the left hip and lifting the right hip bone. And if you think about hips, if you think about where the fold of the hip is and the crease through the front of the leg, I want you to then concentrate a little more on a fold on one side and an opening on the other. It's not quite getting to the levels of what it does when you bridge or what it does when you come into femur arcs, but we are looking at how those two extension and flexion patterns are happening simultaneously but on opposite sides. So you're folding deeper with one flexed hip and opening more into an extension movement pattern on the other. Bring your attention back to your sacrum. Notice how you're doing between 3 and 9. And then you're going to settle the pelvis somewhere in the middle of 3 and 9. How's that? Notice where you've ended up. We're going to start to come into the 4 points on the dial of your clock, starting with 6 each time. And we're going to move between 6, 3, 12 and 9, bring ourselves back to centre, and then reverse that. So we'd come from 6 to 9 to 12 to 3 and come back to centre. I'm going to talk you through it. Again, you could use some breath out if you wanted to get you going, but tilt to 6, take the pelvis over to 3, away from you to 12 and across to 9. From there, bring your pelvis back to that centre. Back to 6, changing directions now, over to 9, away to 12, across to 3, and then again back into your centre. Twice more, tilting to 6, curving round to 3, the outer edge of the dial to take you to 12, across to 9, and then finding what feels like center. Last one, tilting to 6, across to 9, away to 12, and back to 3, and find yourself back in your center position. Notice how that feels. Try to relax into the center as much as you can, especially if you've made an adjustment as you've gone through the sequence. And then we're staying here in the center of the dial with as much ease as we can manage and coming into bent knee fallout. I want you to think about the opposite hip initiating the parting of the knee. So you're going to think front left hip bone allows the right knee to part as you breathe out, and as you inhale you can bring that leg back to the ceiling. Same thing on this side, front right hip bone gives the left leg some slack to fall apart, and then inhale to return. So you can monitor as I'm doing with hands on hips if you want to. Inhaling, but I want you to visualize that the knee only falls away because the opposite hip gives across the front of the pelvis there to allow that to happen each time. The other thing you're going to begin to think about is the leg that isn't moving. How's that doing? If you use your breath out a little how you would if you were doing femur arcs, can you drop down with one foot as you exhale to part, and then inhale to return? Breathing out to part, using the foot to help with that stability, noticing where the give came from. Quite a lot to think about. This is the last one in the short sequence of bent knee fallout, but we are going to come into a longer version now. Same idea, exhale, that'll be a down. Now you straighten your leg down the center of your mat. You've gone down the outer edge of the foot and the leg is down on the floor. You then roll the thigh bone inwards so the knee ends up facing up towards the ceiling and drag the leg back underneath you. You'll breathe out, the leg parts and is given by that opposite hip. You also extend on the outer edge of your foot on that same breath out. Roll the thigh bone in, kneecap coming to face the ceiling, and then drag using the front of the foot as soon as you can to bring the leg back in again. It's going to be an exhale for a fall out and a lengthen, and an inhale for a parallel and a draw back in each time. Exhaling to fall out and extend. Straight down the center of your mat. Just so you know, as you straighten the leg there, it can easily go out to the side. So be really aware of where the center of the mat is. Exhaling to part and lengthen. Inhaling to parallel and draw back under. The last one. Exhale to part and lengthen. Inhaling to return and slide the leg all the way back underneath you. Now just to ensure that your feet have actually finished alongside each other, you're going to bring them together, rearrange if you need to. We're coming into bridging, toes apart, heels into line, and you can remove any cushions if you were supported during that opening section. Take a breath in here, and as you breathe out, stand down into the feet, both of them. Feel the backs of the legs, start to hover the pelvis, scooping up and away from you. Inhale up at the top of your bridge, and as you exhale, heavy through the eyes, the throat, upper body wide through the rib cage, sit bones widen. You just about finish in a tilt to 6, and then you rock the pelvis back away again. Take a breath in as you breathe out, standing downwards and hovering. Now here, on your way up, can you really picture that 3 and 9 are still level with each other? You could have a glance down and check if you wanted to. Big toes down on the floor. Take a breath in whilst you're up here, and as you breathe out, let go. Feel the jaw relax. Notice how when that happens, it enables the rest of the spine to return. This movement really is much more about the middle part of the spine than the neck or the lower back. Hence why we've really eliminated that huge pelvic tilt to 6. It's still there very slightly, but we're working much more through the thoracic, the rib cage area of your spine. You're going to stand down and hover here. I'm going to start to add your arms. Check in with 3 and 9, check in with your big toes. Breathe in and float the arms, feel like you're standing in your blades as much as you are your feet. As you breathe out, this is your first arm arc of the session. You want to feel that you take the ribs forwards to your heels as you take the arms back. Breathe in and bring the arms all the way back down beside you. Exhale to stand and hover. Scoop feeling forward and away from you to your knees. Power 3 and 9. Inhale, got to be in your blades there. As you exhale, reach and allow the shoulder blades to move as you take the spine towards your heels in the opposite direction, and inhale to return. One more if you can. Exhaling to stand down to hover. Miniest of tilts to 6, and then of course you can keep turning the dial on the side of the hips to bring you all the way up. You'll breathe in up at the top, float but still be in your blades. You'll breathe out to return. You're reaching the middle spine towards your heels, and you're long and lengthen there 2 directions, and bring the arms all the way back down beside you. Once the arms are relaxed, you're going to come into your arm arcs here on their own. Just notice how that feels. Without the bridging movement, breath in and breath out. So the arms move up and back. Shoulder blades move. Exhale, arms return. Palms are facing each other. Upper arms are long and lengthened. And exhale to come back. You want to imagine that the little fingers are attached to the outer hips, and you're really picking up the side body each time you take the arc up and back there. After you've done this last one, you're going to take your fingers to the ceiling and come into open and close. So you'll breathe in to open the arms out to the side, and breathe out to take them back up towards the ceiling. Inhaling, just check in with your clock. How's that feeling through the pelvis? Notice whether you've started to move towards your original pelvic position, and see if you can find that center of your dial as you're opening and closing the arms. Wide into the back and sides. After you've done this last one, we'll come into shoulder drops. So third part of the arm series, taking a breath in to start. As you breathe out, backs of the shoulders reach up towards the ceiling, and as you breathe in, backs of the shoulders come back down again. Exhaling and inhaling. So if you want those shoulder blades to move away from the spine, then how low through the upper back there can you sense is moving also? So blades move away, definite protraction but not elevation. Just notice the base of the sternum there dropping downwards, and see if you can feel that part of the spine reacting to that and also dropping down and away from you. Not only do the blades move around and hug the upper arms there, you want to imagine that the spine falls between the arms backwards. After you've done this last one, we're going to come over onto our side, and we're sticking with arms and we're sticking with middle spine, and we're going to come into book openings. So grab your head cushions, knees are bent, Soles of the feet are in line with where you place your head, and everything else should hopefully fall into line for you. Notice your clock to begin with. Quite often there is a little bias through the pelvis, so can you, by visually looking, just check whichever side you're on, 3 and 9 are above and below each other. As you breathe out, you're going to open this top arm. Important to keep looking at it, especially to the ceiling. Now, rotate round as much as you can, maintaining your 3 and 9 above and below, and then just allow that top hip, which for me is 9, might be 3 for you, to drop back. And then you'll send it forwards again. Bring it back into line. You've passed your ceiling point, that's where we started, and you'll bring yourself all the way back to close. Notice whether the pelvis continues to move forward. See if you can find it's a stacked position, exhaling to open, staying stacked, staying above, and then just moving back, but continuing the rotation through the ribs. As you breathe out, send that top side forward once more, but once you get to the ceiling, you want to feel that the top side of the pelvis stays and you derotate through the upper spine. Exhaling to open, 3 and 9, and then you can drop back. Inhale when you're open, exhale. Hip bone comes forward. Once you get that arm to the ceiling, pelvis is restacked. One more, exhale to open, 3 and 9. Inhale when you're open, and then exhale, nudging forward through the hip, keeping the hip still as you can as you come to your closed position. From here you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Over you go, lining up the feet with the head and bringing the arms out in front. So as you breathe out, you can start to move, hands to ceiling, 3 and 9 remain, opening, and for me I'm going to drop back 3 now. Inhale when you're open there, exhale, 3 goes forwards, followed by arm to ceiling, then 3 settles. It's not going to keep coming forward. It's going to try and find where it's exactly stacked above and stay. Exhaling to open to the ceiling. 3 and 9 remain. Just notice the change as you drop the pelvis back. Inhale when you're open, and then exhale, nudging forward. Just delay the upper body just to really get big stretch through the hip flexors. And bringing yourself back, inhaling, exhaling to open, continuing to rotate, dropping back, inhaling when you're open, and exhaling by nudging forwards first to bring yourself back. Last one, exhale to open, rotating upper spine first, allowing lower spine to get a little involved. Inhale when you're there, and then exhale to nudge forward, collect back again up at the ceiling, and bring yourself back to your closed position. From here you're going to come to lay on your back, and we're going to come into chest lift. Again, we're going to do what we did with bent knee fallout. We're going to do 4 of your original chest lifts and then 4 of the longer version. Find yourself on your back, toes apart, heels into line. You're also looking at being in the centre of your clock for this. Interlace your fingers and take them behind your head. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, lengthen through the upper body, nod your chin to your chest and curl yourself upwards. Inhale to lay yourself all the way back down again. Exhale to create length, hovering, front ribs turning in, back ribs just about begin to spread, and then inhale to lay yourself back down again. Exhaling to create length, sigh, ribs, and then inhale to lay down. Watch out for changes through the front of the hips, exhaling. So in order to keep that pelvis right in the centre, the fold would remain the same through the front of each thigh bone and hip. Coming into the longer version, exhale to curl yourself up. Inhale to reach the arms to the legs. As you breathe out, you're going to think about drawing your ribs in more, taking your elbows out wide more, spreading your back bottom ribs more. Hands come back behind your head, trying to stay up in that curl up, and then lay yourself back down again. Exhale to lengthen, nod. Inhale to reach up and hold. Exhale, elbows bend wide, deepen. Feel like the movement comes from the back of you. Hands come back behind your head and lay yourself back down again. Exhale to lengthen. Inhale to reach and hold. Exhale to widen. Inhale, hands come back behind head. Lay yourself down. Last one, exhale to lengthen. Inhale to reach and hold. Exhale. And then inhale, hands to head. And lay your upper body down. Bring your arms down beside you into leg raises. As you breathe out, stand down into one foot and float one leg. Inhale with the leg there. As you exhale, bring the leg back down again. Breath in. Exhaling, little down for a floating light leg. Inhale with your leg up there, and exhale to bring the leg back down again. Take a breath in, breath out for down to come up. Inhale with the leg raised, and exhale to bring the leg back down again. How's your clock? Exhale down to float up. Inhale with your leg raised, and exhale to return. Coming into dead bugs, so down to come up. The leg will stay up, you'll breathe in, and as you breathe out, heavy through the torso, float your leg to bring it up towards the ceiling. Make some choices here on how you feel in a double leg raise right at this moment. Did you want to tilt the pelvis very slightly to 6? Do you want to drop your shins and feet just as we've done previously? We're going to come into the reverse movement. As you breathe out, one leg moves away from you, and as you breathe in, the leg comes back up to the ceiling. Thigh bone, exhale, thigh bone moves away, and inhale, leg comes back up towards the ceiling. Breath out, and breath in. Breath out, and breath in. 2 more, exhaling and inhaling. Last one, exhale and inhale. Interlace your fingers, take them behind your head, chest lift, just one of them. Exhale to lengthen, nod your chin to your chest and curl up. You're going to reach your arms up and over and take hold of the backs of the legs. As you exhale this next time, you're going to send the legs forwards, keeping that upper body, drawing the front ribs in, Sending the back ribs back to bring yourself up to sit tall. Use your arms. As you exhale, feet go down. Start to tilt the pelvis to 6. How central are you as you come into that movement? Hands to thighs, thighs to hand. It's really firm. Draw your feet towards you, just when you need them. Did you manage to ride straight over the sacrum? Take a breath in. As you breathe out, backs of the legs go forward. Nod your chin to your chest for the first time. Up and over. Depending on how much flexion you're doing in the lower back, you could just come part way. So feet down to exhale, and you could inhale here and then exhale to bring yourself back up again, just depending on how it feels for you. If you're avoiding flexion through the neck and the lower back, that might do as a level for you. And then exhale, backs of the legs, chin to chest. You're going to begin to keep their feet away from the floor. So they head downwards here, and you want to feel like you still stay on the back of your sit bones. You haven't come quite as upright as you had when you had your feet on the floor, and then you're going to do the reverse. What will make it feel a little bit easier to reverse is if you draw your knees and feet together. So you're still tilting, the hands to thigh, thigh to hand connection is quite important. Bring yourself onto your back. Take a breath in. Treat it as the same movement initially. Legs, chin to chest, front ribs draw in, back ribs draw back. The feet are still going to go down because they just need to tip you up and into pelvis territory rather than lower back territory. But you can still see you're slightly on the back of your sit bones. That's going to help you when we come to teaser. As you exhale, start to tilt. Really holding firmly to the backs of the legs. Straight up through that sacrum, straight up through the lower back to bring yourself onto your back. Same thing, if you're not flexing through the neck, then it'll just be a small movement. Exhaling, you can still do the initial part of it coming down onto the floor, but you want to avoid coming from laying flat to curling up through the neck if you can. Exhaling, down you come. This is going to be your last one. If you feel you're about to fall, you have to really connect with the hands a little bit more. Exhaling, legs go forward, chin comes to chest, you're rounding, and you're going to bring yourself all the way up to sit. From here we're going to come into spine stretch. So if you straighten your legs out in front of you and reach your arms up too, as you exhale you're going to nod your chin to your chest. Draw your front ribs in, send your back ribs back. And as you inhale, and sit yourself up tall. Exhaling and nodding chin to chest. Draw your front ribs in, send your back ribs back. And then inhale, bring yourself back up to sitting tall. 2 more, exhale, chin to chest. You're as round as you can be through the back of the body. And that's going to help you as we come into the next move. So really think about softening, swallowing the ribs, space. And then inhale to sit yourself up tall. And the next move is going to be rolling like a ball. Again, you just want to make sure you've still got mat behind you. You're going to draw your knees and your feet together and in towards your body. If you think about the assisted roll up and the assisted roll down that we just did, and we came up to a place not too dissimilar, we're just a little bit more open, holding onto the backs of the legs. Now you're going to hold onto the front of the ankles, you want your feet to stay clear of the floor. Notice already that you're on the back of your sit bones. You're going to take a breath in. That's quite important. Imagine that as you inhale, you inflate the back of the body, be patient, and then you exhale to bring yourself all the way back up again. So you're going to inhale, and as you exhale, you're going to find that you fly all the way back up again. You've then just got to figure out how to keep the feet away from the floor each time. inhaling to bring yourself all the way back up. Couple more, inhale. Notice how the movement happens from the sit bones. You're already on the back of them. You're definitely going to think about drawing your navel to your spine. Exhale to return. And last one, inhale. And exhale to bring yourself all the way back up again. From here we're going to come into full roll down. So you're going to straighten your legs out in front of you once more. You could use a band. Notice how there aren't any props in this session, but you could use a band here if you really wanted to. So as you breathe out, backs of the legs go down and forwards, and you start to tilt the pelvis. The same as we've been doing, it's tilting to 6. It's going to keep tilting to 6. Can you feel that you're straight through the sacrum as you're going back there? You'll breathe in and you'll take your arms up and back, and you'll breathe out and you'll take the arms to the ceiling. Nod the chin to the chest, and you're going to bring yourself all the way up to sit. We're sitting tall with this one. Exhaling, tilting, backs of the legs. There's a feeling of length, that the thighs are pulled in that direction, the lower back is pulled in that direction to take you onto the floor. And then to help you come up, the arms go to the ceiling. You want to think about dropping the shoulder blades and the low ribs into the floor, the waist, the lower back, to bring yourself all the way back up again each time. Exhaling to tilt. Crown of the head stays tall towards the ceiling there as you're tilting. Straight down the centre, lower back, waist, ribs, shoulder blades, head. And then exhale, fingers to ceiling, chin to chest. Fill up the gaps on your mat to bring yourself all the way back up again. This is going to come into a full teaser. We've already prepped it in keeping your legs away from the floor. If you wanted to, you could come back to that bent leg position. You're going to inhale here and keep sending the back of your body down into the mat. Arms to ceiling, chin to chest. You're going to start to reach the legs away long in the opposite direction, and that's going to bring you up. Now, if you needed to, you could have bent legs here. You're noticing again that you're on the back of your sit bones. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, heavy through the back ribs. It's a bit like returning from a bridge. The backs of the legs are going to reach long and away from you. You bypass this full 100 position, long, 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 reaching long, arms up and back to bring yourself back onto the floor. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, ceiling, chin to chest. You're being pulled in 2 directions. You definitely want to feel that the lower back drops into the floor there. Now hang back, stay back if you can. You don't want to be right on top of your sit bones. You want to be just on the back of them. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, back ribs spread. Imagine you're coming down from a bridge. Same with the backs of the legs. They're going to reach long and away from you, and you reach the arms up and back to bring yourself onto your back. Last one, exhaling, arms to ceiling, pushing down into the floor to reach the legs away from you. Again, your legs could be bent up here, they don't have to be straight. Last one to take you back down again, back ribs spread, legs reaching away from you. Spread your lower back up the mat, spread the backs of the legs forwards, and bring yourself all the way down. From here, we're just going to come into a side to side. Knees and feet are bent. As you breathe out, sway your legs to one side. Inhale to bring them back to the ceiling. Exhale to sway. And inhale to come back. Exhaling. And inhaling. Exhale. And inhale. 2 more. And inhale. Last one. over onto your side. We're going to come into side kick, side lying and side lift. We'll start with side kick, 2 straight legs. Check in with your clock here. This forearm could be outwardly rotated if you like, fingertips down on the floor. You'll part your feet, and then you'll inhale to swing the leg forward and exhale to swoop the leg back. Think about doing this on the ball. Last week, inhale to swoop back. Breath in and breath out. Breath in and breath out. Last one, breath in and breath out. Rest the leg down. Bend your knees, come and lay down. Hand on hip, coming into side lying. So if you part your feet, you'll inhale to swing the leg forward and exhale to swoop the leg back. Breath in and breath out. Breath in and out. Breath in and out. Last one, inhaling and exhaling. Rest the leg down, back up onto your forearm for side lift. You could bend the legs if you wanted to, they don't have to be straight. Same position for your upper body, but this time arm on the side of you. As you breathe out, push down into the floor. You lift the ribs, the waist and the hips, and the arms come to the ceiling. As you exhale, you're going to carefully bring yourself back down towards your mat. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, down to come up. Inhale when you're up, and exhale to lower yourself all the way back down again. Last one, exhale, down, ribs, waist, hip. Inhale whilst you're up, and exhale to lower yourself all the way back down again. Do the same 3 on the other side. So you're starting with side kick. You're on your forearm, 2 straight legs, and you've got your fingertips on the floor. How do 3 and 9 feel here in this position, one stacked on top of the other? Inhale to swing your leg forward and exhale to swoop the leg back. Breath in and breath out. Inhale and exhale. In and out. In and out. Really still. Keep pushing down through the fingers. Last one. Swooping back and resting down. Coming to knees bent. Hand on your hip. Again, how does the clock feel? Parting your feet, and then inhale to swing forwards and exhale to swoop back. Inhale to come forwards and exhale back. Breath in, breath out. In and out. Last one. Inhale and exhale. Rest the leg down and bring yourself back up onto your forearm. 2 straight legs for your side lift. Hand on the outer thigh. Breathing out, pushing down into the floor, lifting the armpit, the ribs and the waist. Arm can come to the ceiling. Inhale when you're up, and then exhale to bring yourself all the way back down again. Exhale to push down, to come up. Inhale when you're up, and exhale to bring yourself all the way back down again. Third and final, exhale down, to come up. Inhale when you're up, and exhale to return.
We're just going to finish off before we come to hands and knees and front work by coming into the 3 abdominal sequences that we did in the previous mixed class. Starting with single leg stretch, coming into scissors, and then coming into crisscross. We're going to do 8 of each of those. So we're going to start in our assisted roll down position, sitting tall. As you breathe out, feet go down and forwards and you start to tilt the pelvis. Now, you're not going to roll all the way down towards the floor. If you are coming all the way down and your head's down, then your legs will work slightly higher above the mat. Draw your feet towards you. Thigh bones vertical. Good connection with hands and legs. And then you're going to bring one knee into your chest. You've got the opposite hand resting on the knee and one hand down the outside of the ankle. For 8, you exhale to switch. And 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, 6, 7, and 8. The knee that's in goes up. You're going to hold it high to the ankle or high to the lower calf and send the back of that thigh forwards. You'll then release and catch for 1, and 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This knee bends in, interlace your fingers and add your rotation. And you'll exhale to switch. Exhale, 2, 4, 6, and 8. Knees into chest. Lay yourself down and bring your feet separately down onto the floor. So you're going to come to lay on your front. But to get there, you're going to come onto hands and knees. So bring yourself into your hands and knees position. Make sure you've got mat behind you to straighten the leg. And you'll slide one leg behind you, curl the toe under. Push down into the floor with the toe. It's definitely a straight leg. And the heels of the hands. And then to lower you down onto your front, you're going to carefully bring the knees down, uncurl the tops of the toes, and then if you bend your elbows in, projecting your body weight forward, you could finish at a hover. Hands could stay where they are. Inhale to lengthen, lift the sternum, widen the collarbone, send the elbows back, and exhale to return. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale to return. Breath in. Breath out. Inhaling. And exhaling. 2 more. The last one. From here, you're going to rest your head on your hands with your elbows pointing out to the side. We're going to come into double leg extension. I want you to think about big toes reaching away, tops of thigh bones pushing down into the mat, and then relax the legs. So big toes, tops of thigh bones pushing downwards and relaxing. Reach long and hover and rest down. Reach long and hover and rest down. This is going to change into double leg kick. Thigh bones, big toes, and then fold at the knee. Reach the legs away long and rest down. depending on how you're feeling in the back of the legs. You flex your ankles here as you fold in. You push with the heels away, go through the feet and rest down. Or you could keep the feet long, folding in, still reaching the kneecaps wide, lengthening and resting down. Lengthening. The flex version would flex through the ankle before you bent in. It would reach away, go through the feet and rest down. And the pointed foot version, just long through the front of the foot, bend your knees, and reach your legs away and rest them down. From here you're coming into child's pose, something that's rounded, bringing yourself onto your back if you need to. Relax through the whole back of your body. Definitely want to feel that you're achieving some opening and some lengthening up at the back of you. And then you can either reverse roll up from here, whereby you curl the toes under, come into a deep crouch, walk back over your toes, lift your hips when you're ready. Now, I'm going to lift my hips but keep my legs quite bent so that my hands are still touching onto the floor. So to here. And then as I exhale, I'll simultaneously stand down into the floor with my heels, begin to straighten the legs, and then the fingertips can just leave the floor when I'm ready for them to leave the floor, to bring myself all the way back up to stand. Move back, you get a better view. Rolling down and walking out into a plank. So as you exhale here, nodding your chin to your chest, drawing the front ribs in and sending the back ribs back. Try to let go as best you can through the upper body. Heavy hands, heavy head tends to work if you feel a little held. Soften your knees at the bottom if you want to. It will help you to flex through the spine more by flexing through the hips. And then you can walk forwards into a plank. Pelvis down, back of the head lifts up. As you exhale, heels back and down, walking back to your feet, dangling upside down there for that moment, in the same way you did if you took part in the reverse roll up. The heels will push down into the floor, the legs begin to straighten just as the fingertips start to leave the floor. There's a bit of reassurance there as you're unravelling and bringing yourself all the way back up again. As you exhale, nod your chin to your chest. Front ribs draw in, back ribs spread back, heavy hands and heavy head. And let go and stay lifted at the same time. So front body is always going to feel like it's lifted in towards the spine. Last one to walk out into a plank as an option for you. Standing strong. And then heels will go backwards and downwards as you walk back in again. Relaxing your knees if necessary. And then as you breathe out, heels down, navel lifts, arms leave the floor to roll yourself all the way back up. And we're done. Well done everyone. Take care.